bitch nigga and it's like that. Welcome back. We finna get into Kendrick and his gang ties. One thing about Kendrick we all know is he come from a blood neighborhood. As much as he be acting like, it's whatever, he still tied into that shit. Like I always felt like that. I always looked at it like that. And you can tell because it's in how he move and how he carry himself. Even when he rap, is all he really talk about a lot of times. He do put it damn near in every song that he come from a blood neighborhood. And shit, I believe him and YG come from the same neighborhood the whole time. But we finna see what the fuck is up. I know he got family members and shit like that that's out there now because he did move. His parents moved from Chicago, and like so they had their other family members and relatives to come move around him too, because that's where Baby Keem and them come from. But I don't really know how that shit really worked for him because they never really explained Kendrick's story for real.
See, Kendrick grew up in the hood, like really grew up in the hood.
He just don't know Kendrick.
That's what I'm saying. Like has Kendrick renounced his hood affiliation at a certain point?
Kendrick just don't be private and so like priding himself off of his gang culture. So I guess people think that he a non-affiliate.
The crazy part about it is Kendrick really grew up in a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
Protective neighborhood, but a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? And shout out to those brothers over there. He grew up in the West Side Paru area in Compton.
Welcome back to another episode of War in Cali. Many rappers claim to be the hardest gangsters and the biggest steppers in the streets, but that's not the image that many view Kendrick Lamar as, with his music topics not describing himself as that. But Kendrick really comes from the trenches of Compton.
Or whatnot, it's there, of course. I never pushed the line all extra hard like that, but I go through the same circumstances that a person pushed the line to get, you know what I mean? That's just how it is in Compton, you know what I mean? So everybody get put to the test and you just gotta make the right decision.
Kendrick's parents both come from Chicago and they settled in Compton in 1984 with family, for which they thought they were escaping the dangerous streets of Chicago. But little did they know, they entered another monster when they moved the family in Compton. Eventually, they got their own place in 1987 in Compton, which was on the west side. During the 1980s and 90s, Compton, including the west side, experienced some of the highest levels of violence in its history, tied to a decline of an economic system, gang activity, and a crack epidemic taking over. Reliable city crime data from that era shows that violent crime, especially homicide, rose sharply in the mid to late 80s and stayed elevated into the 90s. Compton's seen well over 70 to 90 murders per 100,000 residents in some years. For context, that's several times higher than what is considered even high today. The west side of Compton has several gangs who ran the streets, including several Crip and Paru sets, and Kendrick family settled in an area claimed by a gang called the West Side Parus, a gang with history dating back to the 70s. And the West Side Parus were a fully active gang, locked into various wars with other gangs. Growing up in a community like this, Kendrick got a full experience about how serious life was. At just 5, he seen someone killed in this area, something no one that age should ever see. Kendrick didn't have the household most kids in his neighborhood had. He had both parents there to guide him and be there every step of the way. Most kids in his neighborhood had family members who was tied to gangs, were drug dealers, or drug addicts themselves. But Kendrick's life was around his neighborhood. Once he went outside, his friends and peers were all people from
That's
the
because
west
at the
side.
end of the day, Kendrick's parents ain't from there, and that's the thing. Due to them moving somewhere else where they don't have ties to, like, it excludes their son from certain shit. You feel me? Like, he don't have to have that going on at 24/7. Other niggas who born and bred in that shit do. Like, they actually got their family and generations out there. And then in that one neighborhood, Kendrick family is from a whole nother city and state. So it's different ways and things that they go about doing shit that his friends probably ain't even going through in their household. His daddy probably talk to him differently.
Paru community, and some will become his closest friends to this day. Kendrick went to all the local schools, like Ronald E. McNair Elementary School, Vanguard Learning Center for middle school, and Centennial High School.
Growing up in Compton, it's real. I would like to say the one word to describe it is, or not to describe it. It's real unpredictable. Period. You know, because you never know what type of mischief you're gonna get yourself into. You know, you might be going to the liquor store and then that's your life right there. So you got to really watch your ways and watch your steps and how to move and watch the people you hang around. You know?
By the time Kendrick was a teen, He was naturally affiliated with the West Side Pirus. He lived in the heart of their hood. Most of his friends in the neighborhood joined the gang, so he was guilty by association.
Right. In Element, you say that you got stumped out in front of your mama.
Yeah.
You really got stumped out in front of your mama?
Yeah, Avalon swap meet.
Damn.
Oh, Bob, when I heard that?
Yeah, Avalon swap meet. Yep.
In front of your mama?
Yeah. She was walking out. I'm already fading. Boop, boop, boop. About 3-4 dudes.
And just looking at mom's tweet though that she had sent back, she came back and helped you out though too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like mom bought it too. Yeah. She run up and like, get out my motherfucker. So damn, did she see it or she saw like the aftermath?
She seen it.
Damn.
She seen it. But you know, it's funny out of the respect of them seeing her
they
coming out.
They could have killed you.
Yeah,
They
right.
could have, right.
They just booked it out. Yeah.
Kendrick actually was deeper in the streets than most people realize. Like the life of most kids being gang affiliated, his friends around him were deep in the life. One of his friends was Jason Keaton, who was fully locked into being a Westside Piru. Kendrick and Jason were like brothers, and Jason's little brother Chad was like a little brother to Kendrick. With Jason being fully invested in the street life since a teen, by 20 in 2007, he was sentenced to 21 years in prison. With him and Kendrick being so close, he asked Kendrick to look out for Chad, which Kendrick always tried to do. Kendrick came up in the rap industry and gained a buzz in LA County. Chad was also with Kendrick in his videos and just being around his big brother. But Chad was just like his older brother. He was a part of the streets, being named Stunner too. Jason, his older brother, hood name was Stunner. By 2012, Kendrick would become a legit star after his Good Kid, Mad City release, getting him a Good Kid, Mad City World Tour, which occurred in 2013. But tragedy would strike around 9 p.m. on Friday, July 12, 2013. A white sedan with two black males inside drove by and shot at Chad. Chad was wounded in a drive-by shooting as he left the home of one of his close friends. It happened at the corner of Parmalee Avenue, at Compton Street, in the Westside Piru's turf. The crazy part about this, Chad didn't die that night or the next night. He died 31 days later. He died at only 23 years old in the hospital.
2013, there's been a shooting at Stockwell.
Man. And in real talk, I will say this when it comes to like Kendrick, like the reason that his music is so felt is because it's so real. Like especially that early music, that Good Kid, Mad City shit is so real because you know where he coming from, you know the place he coming from, the pain he's speaking on, the anxieties, the rush, all of those feelings that he put into that album, even the mixtapes early on. To really see this happen is really fucked up. But I really would like to know why wasn't he with the nigga? He should have been with you. If a nigga give me the responsibility of taking care of his little brother, and I call him my brother, he'll be under me. You feel me? If I'm being that successful and shit, he wouldn't even be in the hood. Same way I'm trying to be away from the hood, I'll get that nigga away from the hood. He don't need to be dying at 23 or in jail at 23 doing 21 years. You feel me? That's just one thing I would love to point out. Having him in videos ain't shit. It's one aspect, but it ain't shit. It don't get him out the way.
Street and Parmalee Avenue. The large, frustrated crowd has lots of candles and even more hope because, unlike most drive-bys in Compton, the intended victim is alive. He's Chad Keaton, a lifetime resident of the neighborhood.
Chad was attending a family function, literally around the corner from his house, of a longtime friend. And as he's walking out the house at 9 p.m., a white sedan containing two African-American males drove by, saw him, and shot him.
As Detective Tomlin mentioned, Chad lived one block over on 134th Street with his grandmother, who raised him.
I heard the gunshots. Because it's happened, so close right there on the corner. And usually when he's out, if I hear anything, I will call him on his cell phone, because I'm worried and I'm afraid. And this time when I called him, he didn't answer. So that's when my heart so I just had that feeling.
23-year-old Chad did not die that night or the next, so he was able to talk about what had happened.
He had seen the car circling the area earlier, didn't have a good feeling for it, didn't recognize the people inside of it.
As the days went by, Chad's condition sometimes improved and sometimes it didn't.
The time that he spent in the hospital, he suffered. And it was hard for anyone to feel that, loved him, cared about him, to see him in this condition.
Everyone happy? Straight ahead.
Doctors, nurses, and Chad's will to live kept him alive for 31 days, but the men who shot him eventually got what they wanted.
At this time, Kendrick was on tour. His death deeply affected Kendrick and Jason, which Kendrick felt he was supposed to have looked out for his little bro and made sure he was good. And Jason felt like he let his little brother down. The wrong time, Kendrick states. It all happened when I was overseas. I talked to him over Skype on the hospital bed before he passed. Kendrick states, when Chad was killed, I couldn't disregard the emotion of relapsing and feeling the same anger that I felt when I was 16 or 17, when I wanted the next family to hurt, because you made my family hurt. Them emotions are still running in me, thinking about the slang like that. Whether I'm a rap star or not, I feel like that when I'm a part of the problem rather than a solution. Kendrick raps about Chad and two other of his deceased homies S. Braze and Pup in YG's song, Really Be Smoking and Drinking.
It's real, man. 3 of my homeboys that summertime, was murdered. Right. You know, close ones too, not just somebody that I hear about. These people I grow up with. So it all psychologically it messes your brain up because you live in this life, you know what I'm saying? But you still have to face realities of this. I got to get back off that tour bus and go to these funerals, you know, and go talk to my moms and talk to their aunties, the kids that you know lost their lives.
And he also mentions Chad in another song called Hood Politics.
Speaking from my partner talking to me, you know, speaking on the story how I was there, you know, when his brother passed, and I got to watch him take his last breath, and him respecting that, him, you know, respecting I was down for his brother no matter how much they called him a delinquent, you know, or such. And him also recognizing the fact that this is his lifestyle, you know, he's gonna do what he's gonna do, you know. And I wish one day I can see some positive, a positive light like you're doing in music, but this is me, you know.
Since 2013, Kendrick has become one of the greatest rappers in his generation. And Jason, he has been released from prison and has become an author and still continues to have a deep relationship with Kendrick. Chad lost his life several years ago, but with Kendrick still honoring him and his brother, his name lives on.
I'm gonna stop right there and we're gonna get into this part of it. The thing I really want to point out is the fact that I hate that people take music and they don't take the music as the music and the art that it's supposed to be. I really wish people would absorb the music and absorb the art and understand like the places that people be coming from, because artists really be putting themselves out there, especially rap artists really put themselves out there, really put their feelings and thoughts on paper or on the microphone or whatever. A lot of niggas don't have much to say, but for the ones that do, this is why I be wishing more people just got into the music aspect, because niggas will hype up all the bullshit about Kendrick's career as far as like the disses with Drake or like, you know, just the party songs he done did. Well, not party songs, but like just the little hit songs that he got. When it's songs that he made that really actually were dope and had more meaning to them. That whole album had a meaning to it. And it had a whole storyline to it. And I feel like that storyline was real because, like he just said, which confirmed what I already thought, he had a situation like that when he was 17, feeling like, you feel me, taking somebody from somebody else's family. But we gotta stop moving like that, because that's what ends up getting to us, and that's when that thing comes at us and it takes us away from things. Now his brother was off the street for all those years, and thank God he came out and he changed his ways, because his grandma only got one child left pretty much. You feel me? She only had one, if she's still alive at this point in time. They only got one of them left now. For what? Like, that shit ain't cute. It ain't cool, like, to go out at 23, bro. That little nigga could, we never know what that man could be doing at this point in his life. He would have been 30. And he died at 23. But as far as Kendrick and what he's saying, I understand where he's coming from. As far as, like, everybody, when they say, like, you know, they don't be having a lot of people with them and shit like that. But at the same time, I would feel like Kendrick should have had him with him, bro. If a nigga trusted me with a brother, and I consider this person my brother, I'm finna make sure I treat him exactly how I would treat my own brother. And I wouldn't want my brother in the hood. I wouldn't want my brother around all that. Especially knowing that he's like that and he's active and he's moving in that environment. Anything can happen to him. And thank God that they got the chance to speak and be on the phone and shit like that before he passed, because shit, you never know what they could have did to him if he didn't have that opportunity. And that's one thing we gotta be thankful for, the moments when we last see motherfuckers before we lose them that we care most about. But this is why I be saying, man, I say this every video. None of this shit is really worth it. None of this shit is worth the bullshit. None of this shit is worth the pain. None of this shit is worth the suffering that people go through. That like this I'm glad his grandma came on, because it just shows the realities of this shit for real. People lose people and people are hurt behind that. But y'all let me know what the fuck y'all think. I'm gone. Like, subscribe, all that other shit. Peace. I'm out. I've gained more respect for Kendrick, but I already had this same respect already for Kendrick, because he could have easily been pushing that neighborhood shit, but he didn't. And like I said, I know the fact that his parents coming from a whole nother environment gave him different lessons in life and jewels and things like that and ways to learn. Gave him a different mindset, because they're not thinking in that California mindset. They just living around it. But he's in that environment. He's growing up. This is his home type shit.
Hey, these niggas down on the attack. Gotta know your purpose, understand what work is. These niggas is working, observing,